Hello, you absolute legends. In March of 2025, the relatively small Brazilian YouTuber Dian Frejat released a video titled Exposed, the most lying YouTuber of Resident Evil. This is obviously a translation from Portuguese, but I think we can all ascertain the gist. Dian's video was a response to the channel Corey with 2 R's, who just a couple of months beforehand had uploaded 2 Resident Evil challenge runs. Can you beat Resident Evil Village without running? And can you beat every Resident Evil game in 24 hours? I have to admit I'm not a Resident Evil expert, so I don't know just how hard it is to beat Resident Evil Village without running. But based on the speedrun world records of the entire series, beating 1 through 8 within 24 hours seems like a pretty difficult task, especially for someone who isn't even a speedrunner and who has barely played the games, which is exactly what Corey admits to in his video.
Resident Evil 6. It usually takes a pretty long time to complete. But the thing is that there are different people you can play as. And these different people lead to different play stories. So me, using my mind for once, I decided to look up who has the least amount of playtime on average. And the one that got picked was Ada. I was very surprised to hear this. The thing about this game is I've only ever played Leon's story, and only once. So I literally have no idea what's going on.
So just to be clear, Corey didn't know who the fastest character was, hadn't even played that character, was admittedly doing a blind playthrough, and decided to do this 16 hours into a challenge run that was supposed to be completed in less than 24 hours. Surely for a challenge run requiring this kind of investment where clearly the end goal was to create content, the proof of the completion would be available. But Corey's entire series speedrun, which was apparently completed in 23 hours and 40 minutes, was edited down to a mere 40-minute video showcasing almost entirely cutscenes and barely any gameplay. For anyone who regularly watches my channel, you might look at these red flags and immediately assume that no one would have taken this guy seriously. Without even getting into the nitty-gritty details, it's pretty clear that Corey didn't play through the entire series in 24 hours and his video is just a charade. And to be clear, this video was intended to be taken seriously. Corey says without irony that the challenge was completed successfully.
Now you might be wondering, Corey, are you really going to sacrifice time with your loved ones, as well as your mental and physical health? Yeah, for the next 24 hours, I will be glued to my chair trying to beat the entire franchise. That means I have to beat Resident Evil 1 through 8 before the timer runs out.
But you would be wrong. People did take this guy seriously. The video has over 1 million views, and seems to have gone a long way to build his channel. When Gian made his video calling out Corey for faking this challenge, his channel wasn't the biggest, and his video only received a couple of thousands of views, but he did raise some very interesting points. Gian would then go on to actually beat the entire series in 23 hours, streamed in its entirety on Twitch, where the full VOD is still available. Gian is clearly a Resident Evil expert, but despite his valid criticisms of Corey's obviously faked video, it didn't do anything to stunt Corey's growth. In fact, Corey would continue to build his brand of quote-unquote completing challenge runs, and everything seemed to be going just swell. That is, of course, until May of 2026, when another Resident Evil expert decided to take a look, and, well, the rest is history. I really hope you enjoy. Now legends, I use my phone for 3 things: watching videos, wasting my life scrolling through social media, and gaming. And that's why I love today's sponsor, Red Magic. Red Magic specialize in creating professional gaming-focused equipment, and they are now releasing their brand new gaming mobile, the Red Magic 11S Pro. And because they specialize on gaming, not only are the phones the best for gaming, but they are only around half the price of major brands. Honestly, if I listed every optimization and feature on a Red Magic phone that made gaming great, I would just be here forever. Featuring a Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 leading version processor, 16GB of RAM, and a massive 7500 mAh battery, which is almost double most mainstream phones. It features lightning-fast shoulder triggers, a 144Hz refresh rate, and with its cooling system, this beast runs cold at all times, no matter how intensive your gaming gets. You can even connect this bad boy up to your TV, and it's essentially a modern console. But of course, I install the classic emulators because I'm a huge retro nerd. So if you're like me and you like gaming on your phone and you want the best experience, experience, definitely check out the Red Magic 11S Pro. However, I must warn you, these things sell out very quickly, so if you do want one, you will want to grab an early bird voucher so you can buy it a day earlier than it officially releases, which is in about a week from now. The link is in the description. From December 2024 until May of 2026, the channel Corey with 2 R's would upload around 30 videos focusing on challenge runs where he would restrict himself with certain limitations, such as not healing, only playing with the weakest weapons, going back to the start if he died, and playing on mods that makes the games way more difficult. And he was doing very well. Most of his videos got hundreds of thousands of views, with some of them even getting over 1 million. These videos were very high effort, and by high effort, I am not referring to the difficulty of the challenges, as we'll get to later. I simply mean that they are extremely well edited, with a ton of quick cuts and Gen Alpha references. I assume that Corey is attempting to cater to kids, though I'm sure that much of his audience were also of adult age. As I alluded to in the intro, Corey's videos are interesting in the fact that while the titles and challenges portray incredible gaming achievements, what you actually get served inside the video is anything but. They are almost entirely cutscenes, an explanation of the basic story plot points, and jokes. However, at some point Corey did decide to start linking the raw gameplay in the video descriptions. The first instance I could find of this was in his video Silent Hill, but if I die I reset back to Silent Hill 1 from November 2025. In this video he claims to have beaten 5 games in a row without dying. In the description, there is a link to a single raw gameplay video, labeled as Part 1. But this video is only 5 hours long and only extends until the early section of Silent Hill 2, so the rest of the series is completely missing. I'm not even sure why he would bother to link 1/5 of the raw gameplay, but even the gameplay he uploaded is bizarre to say the least. It's almost unwatchable. He pauses constantly where he is seemingly checking a walkthrough or guide to see what he should do next. There are large sections where he blurs the screen and does something, but what really stood out to me was near the end of the video. Not too far through Silent Hill 2, in one of the apartment buildings, is a safe. It's not a particularly important safe, it just contains some ammo. But in Corey's raw gameplay, he spends 20 minutes trying to open this safe. Now, for anyone who has played this game, the solution to this safe is not very complex. There is a toilet nearby that contains a wallet, and inside that wallet is the solution to the safe. On easy mode, the solution is just the combination, but because Corey was playing on hard mode, it's a tad more difficult because it adds some Roman numerals. In any case, when Corey pulls out the wallet, the code reads 16154, and it also tells you the direction you need to rotate the dial between each number. It's very simple. Corey then runs over to the safe, but instead of just putting in the combination he pulled out of the toilet, he does something completely different. He starts on 15, then he rotates down to 8, then left up to 20, and then rotates right to 2. And he does this really, really slowly. It's as if he is watching a video of someone else unlocking the safe and mimicking their solution. And then after putting in this combination, it's obvious he is clueless what to do because the safe just doesn't open. And then I realized, oh my god, Corey doesn't know how to open this safe. And he is watching someone else's run to copy what they are doing. Corey has no idea how to play this game, which is why he is pausing every few minutes. Maybe he's never played it before, who knows? But unfortunately for Corey, there is one tiny detail about this safe that has thrown a huge wrench into his playthrough. The solution to the safe is different each time you play. So if he was watching someone else play the game, their solution is going to be different to his. And then I realized that if he was watching a playthrough, I could probably identify exactly which playthrough it was by finding the one with the code that Corey attempted to use. And lo and behold, the running question was a video uploaded by Carcinogen SDA titled Silent Hill 2 No Damage Hard Walkthrough. Carcinogen's code was actually 15812, not 15822, but he did it so quickly that it would be hard for someone who didn't understand how the safe works to know exactly what happened. But don't worry, after 20 minutes, Corey eventually read a walkthrough and worked out how to open the safe, and was awarded with the amazing loot of some handgun bullets. totally worth it. Immediately after the safe debacle, the raw gameplay footage just ends and the rest of the footage is non-existent. Now, it would be a bit remiss of me to not confess to something. Finding out exactly who Corey was copying in his Silent Hill challenge run was made a lot easier because this wasn't the first time that Corey was obviously copying Carcinogen. And this leads me to the video uploaded by Trance, a Resident Evil speedrunner and bona fide expert of the series. 2 weeks ago, he uploaded a video titled How I Caught Resident Evil's Biggest Cheater, and it's this video that really made this Corey situation blow up. It likely blew up now in contrast to Diane's video back in 2025 for a few reasons. Trance's video was in English and could reach a much larger audience. Trance is also a much bigger creator, and by this stage Corey had already become much more popular himself and had released many more videos. And because Corey had released more videos, there was a large buffet of faked challenge runs to pick apart. Trance's video is an hour long, and I'm not going to restate everything he found in his video. If you want to see all of his research and findings, you should watch his video. And really, you should support him regardless because a ton of effort went into his investigation, and he should be celebrated for bringing this to the attention of a widespread audience. I did actually speak with Trance, and he generously gave me his blessing to use whatever I wanted from his findings, but I'm not going to just regurgitate everything in his video. I'll mention a couple of things I found interesting, but otherwise I'll stick to things he didn't cover, provide some broader context, and give my own opinion. One thing I definitely need to address is that before Trance released his video, he did reach out to Corey to ask some questions. And in response, Corey said that he wasn't trying to claim that he was the best or that his gameplay was authentic. Otherwise, he would provide the raw gameplay. But this is an astonishing thing to say given that he does indeed purport to provide the raw gameplay footage in his recent video descriptions. But beyond the fact that he does provide links to raw gameplay, the videos do not come across as someone who isn't actually claiming to have performed these challenges. He quite literally says that he does complete the challenges in the videos.
The challenge was complete.
Bro, why is my camera so... I'm just tired, to be completely honest, y'all. There we go. Oh, look, it even says the date, too. Look. Let's see. No, frick. Now y'all can believe me.
But nevertheless, we finally beat what I truly believe to be Resident Evil 2's hardest mod without dying.
This notion that he is not trying to prove himself or assert that he is one of the best gamers in the world is nonsense. He clearly wants people to believe he is legitimate, despite the fact that his videos lack any kind of proof. It's hard to appreciate how dishonest this is because we're talking about video games. And in a video game, you can develop novel strategies that might make things easier to do. So if you do claim that you completed a hard challenge, it might be because you're super talented, or it could be that you've just developed a really cool, consistent strategy. But let's take something like juggling. The world record for juggling 5 balls is 3 hours and 44 minutes by Bense Onodi. Here, you can't come up with any crazy strategies for this one. It's just pure skill and endurance. Now, I can juggle 5 balls, but certainly not for multiple hours. This world record is phenomenal. I don't even know how it's possible. But imagine if I uploaded a video like this. Legends, in today's video, I'm going to try and juggle 5 balls for 4 hours straight. If I drop a single ball, I have to go right back to the start. Let's go. After an hour, I was starting to feel the burn. I thought that maybe I had bitten off more than I could chew with this challenge. But by hour 2, I was feeling a bit more confident. I was in the zone. I was like Neo in the Matrix. Then by hour 3, I had a very rude awakening. I was sweating profusely. The balls felt like concrete blocks. I could barely move my arms. I had to dig deep. And after 4 hours, after going almost insane, I had finally done it. Oh my god. We finally did it. Yes, 4 hours, 5 balls, no drops. If you like this challenge, make sure to subscribe, smash that like button, comment about how impressed you are. I'll be back in a couple of weeks for a brand new challenge. Peace out, guys. I'm gonna lie down before I die. Oh. And then imagine if when people commented how impressed they were, I responded saying how hard it was for me to do, when the reality is that right after every clip I showed in the video, I dropped a ball. I just stitched together a few clips of some of my runs, progressively splashed more water on myself to make it look like I was sweating, and pretended to be exhausted at the end. Now imagine you're the juggler who trained for years to be able to achieve his world record. Imagine how insulting that is to his accomplishment. When people pretend to do something difficult, no matter what it is, it takes away from people who actually do incredible things. And it doesn't matter if you don't think challenge runs in video games aren't that serious. Many people devote a lot of time to these challenges, they are very passionate about it, and faking challenge runs is incredibly insulting to all of these people. In Trance's video, he highlights that Corey is using a trainer in his playthroughs, which is basically a cheat engine allowing him to set his health to specific values and cheat his way through difficult sections. And he highlights that he skips sections completely and just claims to have done them, even though Trance himself, who is a legitimate player, can't even do it himself and believes that they are likely impossible to do. But these particular insights require intricate knowledge of the game. Some other things, however, are so unexplainable and obvious, it makes you wonder if Corey's deception is pathological or if he is just lazy. For instance, in his video, Can You Beat Resident Evil's Gauntlet Without Dying?, he provides 3 links to raw gameplay. The most important thing to note here is that Resident Evil 5 and 6 aren't even included in the raw footage. They are completely omitted, which is important because, as Trance points out in his video, during Corey's Resident Evil 5 gameplay he shows in his main video, he has clearly used the trainer to set his health to 999. In Resident Evil 5, if you have full health, your health bar is a brighter shade of green, and the maximum health value is 1000. As soon as you take any damage, the green becomes very slightly duller. You can see the difference in colors between the 2 health bars here, with the one on the right being full. However, the gameplay clips that are shown, even though they are incredibly sparse and short, show a bar that is both seemingly full but not so bright as to actually be completely full, meaning that the health has likely been set to 999 or somewhere near, which is for all intents and purposes impossible to achieve, as you would need to take only a single point of damage, which enemies don't do. They do far more. But even in the raw gameplay that does exist, things are even weirder. For instance, during Resident Evil 7, Corey picks up 5 shotgun shells from this locker, after which when he pauses, it shows he has 17 shells. He then fights a scripted encounter, during which he pauses and shows his inventory. But now he only holds 10 shotgun shells, despite having just shown 17 shells and not even holding a shotgun to be able to get rid of any of them. So somewhere in the 2-minute period between picking up the shells from the locker and this fight, Corey has spliced together 2 different runs. After the fight, Corey returns to that exact same locker a few minutes later to pick up those exact same 5 shotgun shells again. This is also impossible, as these shells don't respawn. But the strangest thing of all is that I cannot for the life of me identify where the splice occurs. I have a theory about where it might be, but there is nothing conclusive. The ammo count proves a splice did occur, but I just don't know where. Trance and some of his viewers have also tried to find where the splice took place, and everyone has failed. So Trance and I are offering $100 to the first person who can conclusively show where this splice happened and let us know. This is probably the strangest splice of all time, because Corey is so blatantly lazy everywhere else, but for this one specific splice, he was meticulous. The link to the VOD and timestamps will be in the description. And if you're wondering why even link the raw gameplay in the first place if it is just spliced and so easy to determine that it's fake, well, the answer is that no one is actually going to watch the raw gameplay, and simply putting it in the description is generally enough to convince most people that it is legit. For example, his Silent Hill video I mentioned before has 310,000 views, and the raw footage linked in his description only has 200 views. And this is even after he has been majorly exposed, where I'm sure some people have been looking through his raw gameplay. So less than 1% of viewers actually clicked on it, and probably less than 1% of those that did actually click on it actually watched it, which included myself. so the benefit of putting a link to raw gameplay in the description far outweighs the risk of someone identifying that it's total bullshit. At the end of the day, who knows exactly what Corey did, but this isn't raw gameplay. In fact, almost all of the footage that is supposed to be raw is full of obvious cuts and splices, with entire sections completely missing. This comment in particular made me laugh. This footage is as raw as a well-done steak. Corey would also lie in ways that I couldn't even try to conceive of myself. For example, in one video, he played through Resident Evil 7 using a mod called Madhouse++, which makes the game extremely difficult by increasing enemy speed and damage and handicapping you in numerous ways. This is a legitimate mod that you can download from Nexus Mods. Corey's video using this mod did pretty well, so Corey followed it up with a Resident Evil 8 playthrough using a mod called Village of Shadows++.
With the recent success of the RE mods on the channel, I thought to myself, why don't I bust out another? Oh, wait a minute. It seems on my desktop we already have it. Village of Shadows++. Interesting. This mod enhances RE Village's difficulty by essentially giving you a heart attack.
Except that mod doesn't exist. Corey just made it up. Corey also created a fake famous mod for Resident Evil 9 called Insanity++, which again doesn't exist.
There has been an infamous RE9 mod released that goes by the name Insanity++.
Corey appears to be a marketing genius, because it never would have occurred to me to just pretend that a famous mod existed, call it Resident Evil's hardest mod, and then pretend to play it. By the way, this isn't Corey's first rodeo either. While his channel's oldest current video listed is a Resident Evil challenge run from December 2024, if you check his channel using the Wayback Machine, you'll find that he was doing this exact same thing years ago with Elden Ring challenge runs. Though everything from this period has been completely wiped, which is very peculiar. Now, I don't find it necessary to point out every obvious splice or every obvious cheat Corey used, because as I said at the beginning of the video, this situation is so ridiculous on its face that I find it a bit bizarre that Corey even developed an audience in the first place and had developed a reputation for being a gamer who could complete these insane challenges, when even he admitted that he had barely even played the games beforehand, and his raw footage linked confirms they are basically his first time playing through the game, copying someone else's video. It seems as though the main person Corey likes to copy is the channel Carcinogen SDA. As I mentioned before, I realized he was copying Carcinogen's Silent Hill walkthrough, and that was made easy to find because in Trance's video, he showed that Corey had already copied Carcinogen's Resident Evil playthroughs as well. If you do watch Corey's raw footage, he pauses every few minutes to watch the walkthrough he is copying because he has literally never even played the game before. And this made me realize that I think I underestimate the naivete of the casual YouTube audience. And I don't mean that as an insult. It's just that most people would not immediately assume that the creator of a video is straight up lying about what they are doing and trying to deceive them. Unless you have some experience in the game being played or the challenge community, you would take Corey's honesty for granted. And really, this is of no fault of your own. If you have watched legitimate players actually try to complete difficult challenges before, however, you would know they take a lot of work. And when people do them legitimately, they always have very high levels of proof. Because why would anyone in their right mind spend dozens or hundreds or even thousands of hours mastering a game and then not even show the full video of their accomplishments? Why would they cut a 24-hour marathon down to a 40-minute video showing barely any gameplay? This just isn't what world-class players do. I'm sure there are some challenge runners that practice offline, but this is exceptionally rare for someone to attempt these types of challenge runs without streaming their attempts or showing the full unedited gameplay. It is so exceptionally rare that I can't even think of a single example. Every runner that I know that does these types of challenge runs streams their attempts. If they aren't, this is almost a reason in of itself to completely write that person off. I do think people need to be a little bit more skeptical. Claiming to have achieved these incredibly difficult challenges needs to be partnered with incredible proof. And Corey just misses the mark by so far that no one should believe a single thing he claims. And if there is one lesson that can be derived from this debacle, it should be that incredible claims require incredible evidence. A big thanks to Trans for putting in the effort to produce his video and also speaking with me about the situation. But don't forget Dion, who exposed this guy well over a year ago. Make sure to go and support both of these channels and give them the credit they deserve. For his part, Corey has not responded in any way whatsoever, so it will be interesting to see just how much of a hit his fake channel sustains. Another huge thanks to Red Magic for sponsoring this video. The Red Magic 11S Pro is about to release. Go grab an early bird voucher, the link is in the description. Thanks for watching, you legends. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.